Welcome to this brand new edition of the Rise into the Future series. At the recently concluded SAP Sapphire event, we unveiled the next evolution of the RISE transformation journey through agent-led transformation. Anchored in the best practices of the RISE with SAP methodology, this transformation journey is now delivered through the agent-led toolchain, which has two key elements. The first one is the value-based end-to-end business modernization with SAP's recommended tools. And the second one is the fast tracking of the migration and modernization efforts through our brand new AI assistants and agents, which is the topic for today's discussion. And for that, I have with me two product leaders from SAP who are on this mission to fundamentally simplify one of the hardest challenges in enterprise IT, which is ERP Migration and Modernization at scale. Welcome, Sören. Welcome, Sonja. Excited to have you both here today with me to unpack one of the biggest announcements at Sapphire and a topic that I know our customers deeply care about.
Thanks, Pratibha, for the intro, and thanks for having us here.
Yeah, from my side as well. Happy to be here.
So my first question to you, Sören, why did SAP decide that this was the right time to introduce these agent-led migration and modernization assistants?
From my side, if we talk about why it's now the right time, I think we actually need to look back a couple of years. We launched RISE in 2021, and that was not only a new offering. I think we completely changed how we delivered software to our customers and how we are helping our customers to do some actual transformation in their business. So we added to our portfolio with Signavio, with LeanIX, with WalkMe, many new capabilities and tools that help our customer to actually drive value. So we really help them, not only providing them an initial software, we help them to transform the business to make out the best of it. Now we have added a new dimension to it, because what we focused on a lot in the last couple of years was creating value. What we have a bit left out is the topic of cost and complexity that actually comes with each of these transformations. And even worse, the more customers wanted to transform and the more customers want to get out of it at the end, the higher is the initial investment on their side. Now, with the new generative AI capabilities and also agentic AI, I truly believe that the technology got an intelligence that was really needed to automate more of the tasks that customers actually need to do in such a business transformation. So we can finally now tackle the cost and complexity of each of these transformations. And this is exactly what we have announced at Sapphire, 7 migration and modernization assistants that exactly do this.
That makes complete sense, Sören, and I'm really interested in knowing more. Can you give us a quick rundown of these 7 migration modernization assistants in a little bit more detail?
Yes, absolutely. So the 7 assistants that we have designed are based on many, many discussions over many months and years with customers and partners, really addressing the main pain points we see in such transformation projects. Say it data quality, clean core transformation, testing, those are real effort drivers today. So what our assistants are focusing is really a project end to end. We really want to be there from the initial scoping until the go live and even further, helping our customers also to continuously innovate after. So it's all based on an assistant that we call the system analysis assistant that analyzes a system completely in terms of data, in terms of customizing, and in terms of custom code, because those are the 3 main entities we really need to understand in order to scope such transformation projects. The second assistant we are focusing on is the data management assistant. And in this assistant, we are not so much focusing on the actual load of the data, so the migration itself, because that is already pretty much automated. What we are focusing on is really the data quality and the data preparation. So identifying inconsistencies, doing a proper root cause analysis and giving some guidance on how to fix those issues, and actually also having some agent in place that is correcting the data directly in the system. The next assistant, what we are focusing on, is the custom code assistant. And this assistant has 2 different flavors in my perspective. Number 1, making sure that the existing custom code in ECC is actually executable on S/4HANA. And this is what we are doing with Joule for Developer here. And the second dimension is going more into the clean core transformation. So understanding custom code semantically, being able to compare this custom functionality to a standard functionality to understand where standard can replace custom coding. And even more, as there will be always the need to extend some of the custom processes, we will work then also on giving some technical specification on how to extend in a clean core compliant way. The next assistant, what we are focusing on, is the configuration assistant. Here we take into account many of the scoping items, our enterprise knowledge graph, and based on that, together with our central business configuration tooling in SAP, we can have an agent that is pre-configuring a system for our customers. So you do not need to spend so much time in the actual configuration anymore. The next assistant I want to focus about is the test management assistant. And here we are leveraging also, again, a partnership that we have. So our own assistant are focusing on the test preparation and test scoping. So test data creation or the test case creation are huge pain points today. And we are tackling them based on all the information that we have, again, out of our enterprise knowledge graph, but also based on the customer processes coming from Signavio or the requirements and user stories our customers have defined. Tricentis later on will focus then on the test automation, as they've also in the last couple of years. Another assistant that we are announcing is the Rollout assistant. And the Rollout assistant is especially for the very large-scale customers that have an initial implementation, so a template, and they want to roll this template to more and more countries, to more and more market unit or plans. They need to be able to compare a template to an actual implementation to understand the delta and identifying the change needs that they have. And last but not least, for me, a bit like the clue of all these assistants, is our project management assistant. So the project management assistant is taking into account not only our generic RISE with SAP methodology, but it's reusing all the information that we have out of the other assistants to tailor it exactly to the customer's project. So we finally come to a point in time where we do not need to ask a consultant about project progress, but we can make the system the single source of truth on where we are actually at in the project.
Thank you, Sören, for that quick overview. It's really exciting to see the wide gamut of all the use cases that we have curated to address through these assistants and agents. Now that we've seen the overview, we've heard the overview, would love to see these assistants in action. And for that, I'll turn over to you, Sonja, to give us a quick demo.
In this demo, we will show you actually the agentic solutions accelerating an S/4HANA transformation across 3 different roles, project manager, custom code lead, as well as a developer. And we start in the Joule conversational layer, as you can see here, all chat-based. And we get the support from Joule from the very first step. So we're telling Joule actually what we would like to do, which is nothing less than a transformation from ECC to S/4HANA. Joule is analyzing and starting actually looking into our system landscape and telling us that there is one system being heavily used by us, and it would propose actually to start with exactly this system. Sounds reasonable to us, so we start with exactly the proposed system by Joule. We get the first information here about the database used and so on. And now we are needing, we need to do the next logical step, which is the real analysis of the system. Here you can see the different data types Joule proposes. We can check and uncheck them. I like the proposals by Joule, so I confirm the data types. Second step Joule wants to confirm with me is about the functional packages. They seem to be really reasonable to me. I can check and uncheck them as well, but for me, all of them sounds reasonable and necessary, so let's confirm once more. And the last step here, before we do the real migration and before we start the agents, is actually we confirm the company codes as well. As soon as we've done the prerequisite steps with Joule, the system analysis assistant starts. And now the project gets real interesting since we are going out of this conversational layer into our migration modernization cockpit, which is not a static cockpit or a static dashboard, but real dynamically created for us and showing the real progress. Let's open the cockpit. Here on the top, you can see the different progress we have of the different stages of the migration project, the discovery phase or the prepare phase. On this cockpit, you see as well while you were away tasks, you see important tasks which needs to be done by me or other colleagues where I can delegate tasks to. You see the current risk and the project progress. And here's some project guidance. And we are now interested actually in the agentic migration report. Let's click here and see actually what's done in the background. Here we already see the swarming phase, we call it like this. So you see all the different agents working with one each other or in parallel, and we're seeing the real progress done in the background. Even while we're away, even when we have a cup of coffee, the system is working for us. So the agents work in the background. You can see the data management assistance, custom code assistant, test management, configuration, project management, system analysis, and the rollout assistant coming soon as well. For each of them, we have details available. So if you're interested, you can just with one click see the different details for the different agents as well. I would propose we start today with the custom code assistant, and we do that by just clicking here. As you can see, we are now switching again in this conversational layer. And now we are going even a little bit deeper into the system, into the real custom code migration parts. As soon as we have done some preparational steps, we can run the ATC check here. And while the system is working for us, every other agent is running in the back and continues this journey. You can see that we have more than 1,000 ATC findings. And actually now it's time to hand over to the real developer. And we are doing that by creating a space for the developer. Now we can see the space created, not statically, again, based on our ATC checks. You see all kind of different information here. And now we are coming to the IDE part. On the right side, you see that we can run here manually. We can start the Mass S/4HANA custom code migration agent. And as said before, we are switching once more, since we are doing real code migration changes here, we are switching once again to the real IDE. And now you're seeing the agent running. It's a human in the loop based process. So the agent is supporting us for all the different code changes which needs to be done. It starts with some kind of analysis and telling us about the different quick fixes available as well for the agentic parts and so on. And we are going through it agent based. So it's guiding us through the different stages for the 1,000 findings we saw before, through the different stages to really do the code migration here. It's all agentic supported. And here on the left side, you see some code lines, proposals, which can be changed. And still the human in the loop, the developer actually is in charge to really check and say, yes, please do so. Yeah, actually, the developer can track the progress, as you can see, review the proposed fixes with confidence scores, and accept and refine them as well. So high confidence fixes are applied automatically, and medium and low confidence fixes stay with the developer for review. So the human in the loop is in full control. The result is a guided and transparent and high automated custom code migration process. And now you just saw that I switched back from the IDE into our space we saw before. And here in this space, you can see the progress we made with the agent together, the custom code migration agent. So that is actually the full story we have for you today, from project oversight to intelligent task delegation to AI-supported code remediation at scale. This is a powerful demo, as promised. And now it all comes together actually in one harmonized engagement layer level. Yeah, and by that, I hand back. Thank you.
Thank you, Sonia, for that fantastic demo. A few things jumped out at me. The first one, obviously, is the familiar tools and the integration with familiar tools. You had Joule as the conversational interface. You mentioned ATC check. You mentioned the IDE. So all of that is, good familiar integration, which I think is important for our customers. And the second thing, which I think is really important, which stood out as well, is the human in the loop. The fact that yes, we have these migration modernization assistants and agents, but then you need that human judgment and oversight, which is very, very critical. Switching back now to Soren for my next question. So, Soren, some of the conversations I had at Sapphire with customers, they obviously are on this journey of their transformation, and they're using some of the existing tools from SAP that have been around for some time. What would be your advice to them, or what would you tell them about how these migration and modernization assistants and agents work alongside those existing tools that they have?
Yeah. So it's absolutely clear to me that customers are already on that journey. I mean, we have end of maintenance in 2027, end of extended maintenance in 2030. So it's totally clear to me that customers have already started to engage, and it's the right thing for them to have started that. I think the agents that we are now providing are a very great addition to the tooling that we had before. Signavio will continue to be very important in the process management and process mining space. LeanIX will still continue to be the excellent choice on the enterprise architecture level, and WalkMe will continue to drive the adoption. I think we are coming on top of it. I think once customers have decided to do their transformation, they can still include our agents and reduce many of this really redundant, manual, and low outcome tasks that usually they would do with either internal resources or with their service partners that they have in such transformation projects.
Yeah, that makes sense. Definitely. Turning over to you, Sonia, I'm pretty sure we have been doing some early testing with our customers and partners, right? Can you share something about early feedback or some of the tangible business outcomes that we are seeing customers to realize with these assistants and agents?
Yeah, happy to. Actually, our ambition is to reduce overall migration effort by roughly 35 up to 50% by letting these assistants and agents take on the most complex and manual parts of the journey. At Sapphire, we had many conversations actually with a broad set of customers and partners, and it just reinforced actually that we are on the right track. Yeah, that we are actually producing product truths for our customers and partners, and that they are eagerly waiting actually to go with us on this transformation journey here. One large enterprise customer, for example, with a very complex transformation project in front of him, they are really eagerly waiting for us to start with this agentic supported transformation. And some of them, even describe them as customer zero, and they would really like to start today with us, with a clear goal to cutting migration effort by about a third or even 50%, and using these assistants to not only migrate but to modernize as well with clear purpose here. So the way they believe migration should be done in the future, that is what we get from our customers and partners as the feedback actually. And with that, I would be interested in your point here as well, Sören. What is your experience with the customers and partners?
Yeah, thanks. So I can only echo that. I mean, across the different agents, the use cases that we have selected to prioritize, they are really resonating with our customers. I think we spent really a lot of time in the last couple of months together also with our services team. We work directly on the customer side to really identify the use cases that they really struggle with. Taking data quality into account. Today, it takes months to really identify data issues, to do a root cause analysis, and to clean it up. I think with agents, we can really reduce these months into weeks. And this is also what our customers are confirming that are looking into it. Or taking the test case creation itself. The test case creation is something today the business users need to do. And even when they are fast, they still need like 30 minutes, maybe up to 60 minutes to create one single test case. And we see customers out there with 10,000 or even 20,000 test cases. So if you multiply that by 30 to 60 minutes, you can only imagine like how big of an effort this is. Now with our test case creation agent and what we can see here, we can do it in a few minutes. And even if the human is in the loop that is validating what our agent is creating, we see still a lot of savings for our customers. I would say those were the two agents that picked up the most interest so far at Sapphire when we've been talking about them.
That's fantastic to hear. Now coming to the most burning question, and I'll ask that to you, Sören, like when can our customers get their hands on these AI assistants and agents?
Yes, very good question, very fair question. We always want to be very transparent about product maturity. We have actually picked this particular demo because what you have seen, what Sonja showed, especially in the IDE in Joule for Developer, this is the first agent that we are releasing now, beginning of June. We will also have 2 data agents that coming in the same data time frame. Overall, we are targeting to have the majority of our agents available by the August-September timeframe, and we will continuously now develop and release the agents as soon as they are ready. By end of the year, we are targeting to have full product maturity about everything we've been talking in this webinar so far.
Okay, that's fantastic to hear. In conclusion, I can only say that, based on what I saw today and what we discussed today, Sören and Sonja, clearly SAP is aiming to fundamentally simplify one of the biggest problems that enterprise IT faces. And it will be really fascinating to see how these AI-driven assistants and agents reshape our customers' transformation programs over time. So I thank you both for your time and the conversation today. For the audience that is tuned in today, if you want to have more information on these assistants and agents, please do review our Rise with SAP landing page, or you could even check out our community blogs, which have a little bit more deep dive on these topics. With that, I thank you all for joining us today.